Daniel.
Yeah, so group A.
One of the rapporteur.
You're starting a parallel. You're on a parallel session. One of the parallel sessions, right?
Yeah.
You were.
So what we are having, we are running up slightly late.
Okay.
The report back session to plenary, which we were meant to do before lunch,
Yeah.
is what we are doing now.
Okay.
Which will be about half an hour, 35 minutes.
Okay.
Then we break out into now your session.
It's fine actually because I'm starving, so I'm going to get.
So go and get
It's
some.
it's
Okay. So I am on here at what time?
2:30. Let me just check.
Well, 2:30. But 2:30 is now.
Yeah, I'm saying we are running.
Okay. So half an hour late.
You are in the next group session.
Mm-hmm. Who's the? It's this one. It's the one on financing. How can we finance secondary education?
So it must
No,
be C then. No, it must be D.
I'll finish.
It's about the levels of education.
That's it? Okay.
Unless they've
No, that is
changed.
no, we haven't.
Well, let's see what they put my name. Maybe they
No, I
changed.
saw your name. No. Martin, we could not have removed you. Here you are.
Okay.
How to strike the right balance.
Okay. So is this
This
group
is
A?
This is group A.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Which will happen in the next 35 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
So you have time to go and have your lunch.
Sure.
Then you come back. It's a parallel session, so we won't have it here. We will have
Okay.
it in the parallel rooms, which I just will show you where they are.
Oh.
So this
okay.
is plenary report back. We are
Okay.
doing the report back of what we were meant to have done before
Okay.
lunch.
Okay.
Is okay? So
Sure.
breathe, take some lunch.
Oh, well, not here. I must go to the breakaway room.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
I know. I'll look for you in case you are lost. But it's good
Are
to
you
see
coming to the same breakaway?
I will be one of them. I will be moving around.
Okay.
I need to make sure. Yeah. But it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean. Yes. Glad you're still around in business and alive and kicking.
We are still in this landscape. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So it is Mallory. Yeah. You can call Mallory to the stage. Then you call
David Blaze,
yeah, David Blaze. Then you have
Daniel Antu.
Daniel Antwi. And then you have not Steve, Maud Senges. They should also call out and see if they're here. Then we just go on.
Good afternoon. One more time, please. Let's start our session. I would like to call on the stage Mallory Baxter, Learning Manager, Programs, MasterCard Foundation. Mallory Baxter, is it there? She. Thank you. David Blaze, also an expert, education and culture, economic community of Central African states. Daniel Antwi. Daniel? Daniel, please. Can you say, where are you from?
From Ghana.
Minnesota. Maud, is it like that? Segers. Maud Segers. Senior Education Advisor at VVOB, Belgium. And I think that's all. As I said, we are a little late, so with the permission of Mr. Albert, can we start? Thank you. My name is Aldo Sambo, and I am the Director for International Relations in the Ministry of Education, Angola. Let's start our session with the presentation of the rapporteurs of each group. And I would like to give 5 minutes to each of the rapporteurs to present the conclusions, the findings, if I can say so, of each group. Let me start with let's start in my left, please, Ekas.
Oui. Merci. Je m'en vais donc vous donner le rapport du groupe B qui a travaillé sur comment les systèmes peuvent-ils promouvoir des liens plus solides entre les parcours d'enseignement général et l'enseignement technique et professionnel. Donc, nous sommes partis d'un constat d'abord assez positif, c'est que de plus en plus de pays sur le continent accordent une attention soutenue à la formation technique et professionnelle. Et l'exemple du Rwanda qui a été cité ici, qui a été présenté ici, le montre à suffisance. Le fait qu'on accorde ainsi une plus grande importance à l'enseignement technique et professionnel et plus d'attention est louable. C'est un secteur qui accueille favorablement différentes catégories de jeunes, ceux qui sont en difficulté scolaire, ceux qui ont connu des décrochages scolaires, comme ceux qui ont quelques aisances dans l'acquisition des compétences transmises. L'enseignement technique et la formation professionnelle constituent aussi un outil efficace pour les populations vulnérables et marginalisées. Mais on relève encore de grosses insuffisances. C'est une formation qui coûte particulièrement cher et on note aussi l'absence de passerelle entre l'enseignement technique et professionnel et l'enseignement général. Un rapport de l'UNESCO, nous l'avons rappelé, souligne la nécessité d'établir les ponts pour une mise en place que l'UNESCO a demandé dans cette optique d'améliorer la qualité de cet enseignement, parce qu'on a constaté que les normes en enseignement technique et professionnel sont encore assez fragiles, assez basses. C'est par exemple ce qui s'est passé dans le cadre du Soudan du Sud. Ils ont élevé les normes, les standards enseignement technique et professionnel pour permettre à ceux qui connaissent, à ceux qui ont connu cette formation, une entrée à l'université. Il faut rappeler le contexte. Un pays qui a connu pas mal de crises, donc il fallait former les populations. Les populations formées ont eu après, par ces passerelles établies, en passant par la refonte du système éducatif, donc la possibilité d'aller se perfectionner au niveau de l'enseignement supérieur. Il y a aussi le regard qui est porté sur l'enseignement technique et professionnel qui est à corriger. On a toujours l'impression que c'est une formation qui est réservée à ceux qui ont été déjà en échec quelque part. Il faut corriger cela et ramener une autre difficulté aussi qui est à régler ou à gérer dans ce cadre, c'est la multiplicité des ministères qui sont en charge de l'éducation. Ça fait que les normes des différents ministères ne sont pas forcément, ne facilitent pas toujours l'harmonie et le passage d'un système à l'autre. Il faut penser à voir comment est-ce qu'on pourrait établir des normes pour harmoniser le passage entre éducation technique, formation professionnelle et enseignement supérieur. On pense aussi qu'il faudrait garder une pratique qui se faisait, par exemple, qu'on a vu, qui existait dans plusieurs pays d'Afrique, dont particulièrement, par exemple, au Zimbabwe, où, à côté de la formation générale, il y avait aussi des formations techniques et professionnelles qui étaient transmises aux élèves. Ainsi, il y avait un continuum entre la formation générale et la formation technique et professionnelle. Un autre point à relever, c'est arriver à la démystification et à la démythification des matières scientifiques qui peuvent aussi être utiles dans le cadre de la formation technique et professionnelle. La posture que les enseignants prennent, par exemple, les professeurs de mathématiques ou de professeurs de sciences, hors du commun et emmener finalement les apprenants à se décourager. Donc, ce type de travail au niveau de la formation, de la pédagogie, est à faire pour faciliter la passerelle d'un système à l'autre. Donc, il faut rendre les systèmes éducatifs beaucoup plus flexibles pour un perfectionnement et aux autres de partir de l'enseignement général pour aller sans trop d'écueil vers une formation technique et un enseignement technique et une formation professionnelle qui leur permettra d'être productifs et, comme on disait hier, utiles à eux-mêmes et utiles à la société. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Now, I noticed the presence of Mr. Koroma Ibrahim of the Ministry of National Education, Technical Education and TVET, Côte d'Ivoire. That is going to make an overall reflection. So now I'd like to give the floor to Mallory. No, thank you.
Thank you. I'm reporting back on group session A, which discussed flexible pathways. We started off with an overview about what we mean when we say youth often take non-linear pathways through the education system and why there's a need for greater flexibility. The reality for most young people is that they do not enter primary education at the age of 6 and progress year after year through 12 years of basic education. Later, I'm talking about a significant portion of the youth population who either face challenges continuing with their education or leave the system entirely. So in response to this challenge, we discussed a number of different types of flexible pathways, bridge programs to the field right now of alternative education. The first is delivering programs at scale, and the second, ensuring national recognition of the skills gained through these programs. We then heard from a representative from the Ministry of Education in Malawi who spoke of their national adult literacy program and of their complementary basic education program. We also heard about the government's readmission policy for young women who have left the education system due to early pregnancy. The Honorable Minister of Basic Education from South Africa also shared a number of examples of innovative programs, including adult basic education, a second chance program that allows people who've previously dropped out of the system to study and to rewrite their matriculation exam. And finally, an innovative training program whereby private companies contribute to a sector-based fund that's in and out of technical training, and from Ashoka on how they use justice to it. But there were a few key themes that stood out. The first was on certification. Certification and the importance of recognition and of portability of certification. Skills need to be recognized so that youth can move between. The sector isn't actually looking for certification. Like interpersonal skills, critical thinking, problem solving remains a challenge. But one innovative example was shared from a program called R Labs in South Africa, where rather than credentialing a skill, they recognize the outcome of a skill, thereby recognizing the competencies that come to the table and has a role to play in those pathways. So young people need to see examples of people who have had success on this. It was brought up that in Ghana, many young people are being trained on the job through apprenticeships. We discussed the question of how can you give more validity and recognition to this type of learning, and what can formal education systems actually learn from training that's happening in the informal sector. So I hope I have done justice to the rich discussion that we had today.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we...
Okay, so I'm representing Group C, and our topic was can innovation in technology education technology help to deliver at scale more flexible secondary education and of secondary access. We also spoke about the challenges around access, quality, and relevance, and what technology can come into play. But a few interesting themes that came out was one, harnessing the power of radio and television as tools to provide content and increase access. So there were made mention of good practice. The big issue on the table was the basic infrastructure as a key pillar when it comes to technology. So how do we make sure we engagement? And over here, this was quite critical because one of the panelists made mention of a recent McKinsey survey that reveals digital growth is key for corporations. And so what it means here is there should be that close partnership between the demand side and the supply side. So demand side players, which is the private sector, then the supply side players that in ways to help finance education with young people or secondary education. The reason being that they help in training and invest in their officials. So understanding we need to go digital, but also what it also means is we opening up data in a lot of online courses, but there is the need for us to look at data protection laws in here. Then lastly, the theme on curriculum development, where we need to adapt that to digitization. So in conclusion from the team, we needed to admit that, thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Now, I'd like to give the floor to Maud Segers, please. Group D.
Yes, I'm here to give the report for session D. The purpose of that session was to explore the role of the private sector in improving secondary education and to prepare an Deputy Minister of Basic Education of South Africa. MasterCard Foundation gave the introductory overview of the secondary education in Africa report, and specifically on the private sector part of that. 3 representatives from the private sector had interventions, as did the National Professional Teachers Organization of South Africa. First of all, I'm going to give you 4 key messages on the current situation that came out of the discussions. First of all, the future of work is here. So the idea that the future of work is somewhere on the horizon was contradicted during the session. Across geographies and economic sectors, there are examples of increased automation and labor disruption. And this came out of the study, the Secondary Education in Africa Studies, study with sectors being, with private sector actors questioned from agriculture, food and beverage, hospitality, retail services and technology. So about the current situation is that there is a 3-tiered skills mismatch that exists at 3 levels. Foundational skills, literacy and numeracy, compounded by overloaded curricula and language of instruction issues. Workforce readiness skills, or 21st century skills, teamwork, problem solving, resilience, initiative, dress, professionalism that exist, or the development of digital and tech skills. It's very possible to acquire those even for people who don't necessarily succeed at mathematics. So we need to create new pathways into these kinds of technical skills. There was a call because so many different skills, and so where to start. So one of the recommendations that came out already was to focus on quicker interventions and what can schools do now, what is already in the zone of opportunity of current education systems. And some examples were given, such as conversational English as opposed to, for example, written English, for jobs in call centers and hospitality, or, for example, managing books. If for young people in the gig economy, simple accounting is manageable, schools can deliver that, and it's not necessarily the same as learning mathematics over many years in the formal school system. Third message, our team-based and experiential learning that need to take a more facilitatory role, for example, in structured peer learning, and that is also an opportunity skills that industry is looking for. To make this happen, obviously, that there is a wide range of ongoing efforts and initiatives to link the private sector and secondary education, but they are scattered. So some of the examples that were highlighted were mentorship systems with business leaders, work exposure visits, apprenticeship systems and on-the-job training, entrepreneurs and industry leaders who go to schools as guest teachers. Companies, for example, Cisco Systems, do curriculum development. They offer entire programs from basic skills development in IT to specialized skills to governments free of cost, and they have done so across the African continent and elsewhere. A company like Festo Didactics is supporting aquatronics and is training waste and water management professionals in small and dispersed initiatives in order to really move the needle on the need for skills. So what was proposed as the main way forward is to forge but as partners. And that came out with 2 specific characteristics. First of all, partners that understand and respect each other's needs. The sector figures out what it needs to know today. What does that mean in terms of the kind of partnerships that are necessary between the public and the private sector? For the private sector, they need to be pragmatic, identify key problems, focus and agree on clear goals, bring together those who can contribute to the solution rather than focusing only on high-principled partnerships that may remain at the political level. What can governments do? And this, I am pleased, this came from the governments themselves. Speed up decision-making, reduce red tape. Ensure internal follow-up so that the partnerships, the decisions that are made, go to the level of the implementers within ministries.
So is that, you still have more to say? The
A
time is,
little bit more.
I was in the
almost
same group, so just, it was really interesting. Just one more minute.
Can I
Keep
add?
on.
Okay, sorry. Secondly, a clear need from government is that partnerships have to ensure, or governments, and then also the partnerships they engage in, have to ensure that the interests of the entire population are met, not only those of the privileged. So they need partnerships that promote equity. What can the private sector do to make that happen? To ensure a spirit of true corporate social responsibility, recognizing that there is a cost to reaching the most disadvantaged and keeping a sufficiently long-term vision. What else is needed for those partnerships, except for understanding each other's needs? They need to be properly coordinated. So industry associations need to get on board. In many countries, that means that small and medium enterprises need to get better organized. Coordination does not mean centralization. It can be done at provincial or district level, and coordination can be done around problems to be solved, and then let's get on board those stakeholders that need to be involved in solving a particular issue.
Okay, thank you. I think you just passed your time. Although I was in the same group and there were tough discussions, so I am Kuruma Ibrahim for the overall reflection, and you have, let's see, 10 minutes.
Qui est préparer les jeunes au monde du travail, surtout quand c'est une projection que nous voulons faire. Ces jeunes aussi pourraient être amenés à dire, mais pourquoi ils sont là sans nous? Tel un devin, je prédis que plusieurs d'entre nous ne seront pas là, peut-être en 2020, et si on va au-delà, on est de nouvelles compétences et de nouveaux métiers. Certaines de nos réflexions, donc, vous m'excusez, je vais reprendre le curseur comme le jeu. Alors, je disais, certaines de nos réflexions actuelles seront sans nul doute caduques et dénuées de pertinence. Mais rassurez-vous, ce n'est qu'une boutade. C'était tout simplement pour montrer la preuve de notre engagement, nous qui sommes ici pendant ces 2 jours qui sommes là. En fait, tout cela montre que nous avons un souci de ce que sera demain et que surtout aussi, nous avons un souci énorme d'assumer nos responsabilités, sinon notre responsabilité. Et dans la chaîne des générations, et ADEA, la fondation Mastercard est soutenue par nos pays et d'autres partenaires, est la bienvenue à plus d'un titre. Merci à toutes et à tous d'y avoir pensé, rendu possible sa tenue et créé les conditions de riches et fructueux débats qui honorent l'ensemble des participants. À mon humble niveau, contrainte. Quelques pistes. La démocratisation de l'accès à l'éducation de base par l'instauration de la scolarisation obligatoire de 6 à 16 ans, c'est un choix que notre pays, c'est-à-dire la Côte d'Ivoire, a fait pour une éducation de base pour tous. Et cela, c'était justement pour permettre à de nombreux enfants d'accéder à l'école. Bien sûr, cela a été accompagné par beaucoup d'autres éléments. Et aujourd'hui, justement, l'effet, c'est que l'entrée dans le secondaire se trouve vraiment, je dirais, pratiquement surchargée. Aujourd'hui, c'est près de 400 enfants qui frappent à la porte, 400 000 enfants qui frappent à la porte de nos collèges. Il y a le problème de l'adaptation et de la viabilité de l'offre au niveau du premier cycle, du secondaire qui s'impose. À ce niveau, la Côte d'Ivoire a fait l'option d'expérimenter ce qu'on appelle les collèges de proximité. Madame la secrétaire générale du Sénégal en a parlé et nous avons opté pour cela. En même temps, c'est une façon de parler peut-être à nos camarades du Congo et autres. Cette possibilité donne, si vous voulez, à construire donc des lycées, des collèges de modeste dimension, souvent 8 salles de classe, avec des bases 2. Mais l'intérêt, ça règle aussi un peu le problème de recrutement. Il y a des professeurs bivalents, et là, pour ce nombre de collèges base 2, nous ne recruterons que 10 professeurs bivalents. Et bien sûr, pour l'administration, on se retrouve avec 5 personnes au niveau de l'administration. Si nous prenons le cas d'un collège classique pour la même chose, c'est-à-dire la base 2, on va se retrouver à l'administration au lieu de 5 possibilités à certains États, sinon à nos États. S'agissant de la réforme en profondeur des curricula afin de renforcer l'adaptation, l'utilisation des jeunes apprenants dès leur jeune âge. C'est une chose qui se retrouve difficilement dans nos curricula à nous. C'est vrai, on exprime souvent la volonté, on exprime souvent cela comme finalité, mais cela ne se traduit pas par des activités réelles qui permettent. Nous, en Côte d'Ivoire, nous avons vécu un admis qui ont payé la scolarité et ils avaient brillé leur formation. Et c'est maintenant que l'établissement dit, ça a été, il faut que dès maintenant on songe à cette histoire de passerelle qui peuvent être des facteurs de blocage. Comment expliquer que des enfants, selon une certaine théorie, ne devaient pas s'inscrire, mais réussissent pourtant brillamment au cursus, et maintenant on leur dit, vous n'êtes pas capable d'avoir ce diplôme. Je voudrais interpeller donc tous nos ministres ici présents pour que chacun commence dans un certain travail collectif. La pratique. Trop souvent, on dit qu'on a reformulé nos curricula. Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? C'est qu'au niveau de la stratégie d'apprentissage, rien ne change véritablement, quand bien même on aura écrit des choses qui sont belles. Or, la manière d'enseigner, c'est celle-là même qui passe dans le domaine professionnel, dans le domaine technique. Cela s'avère encore plus important. Vraiment, les différents. Il faut aussi des curricula pensés donc et conçus en lieu. Il faut créer un partenariat, effectivement, entre le privé et le public. On sortira un produit. Ce produit est véritablement attendu par l'entreprise. Il faut aussi surtout que le curriculum soit soutenu par des fonds. Parce que le politique pour transformer l'enseignement secondaire qui reste un défi. Oui, il faut beaucoup plus de volonté politique, car tout est possible si d'autres pays l'ont réussi. Le sous-financement de l'enseignement demeure un défi qui pourrait relever des arbitrages budgétaires favorables par le renforcement des capacités des acteurs en matière de mobilisation de fonds. Il serait intéressant, effectivement, que le ministère puisse se doter de personnes ayant les ressources capables de mobiliser des fonds. Tout le monde l'a dit ici, chaque fois, que l'éducation demande beaucoup d'argent. Il faut pouvoir mobiliser cela. Enfin, je voudrais terminer pour dire que pourquoi ne pas songer, mais j'ai entendu dire cela dans le couloir, à un fonds africain pour l'éducation. Cela ne viendrait pas en concurrence au Fonds mondial pour l'éducation, mais cela pourrait permettre de mieux encore réussir notre ambition, qui est celle de réussir à mieux former les enfants. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuruma Ibrahim. To finish this session, I would like to make some few. The conclusions you presented, are reflections that the discussions were very intense within the groups. TVET should be a tool for vulnerable people, for marginalized people. Now I'm starting to give some few final ideas. There is a need for a change in the mindset. There have been shown good examples from Zimbabwe and South Sudan, and as well as adult literacy program of Malawi that was shared in the group session A. Second, a program in SH, I think second program, and innovating training program in South Africa. Good examples that were retained, as well as a good practice in Botswana in terms of general education. ICT education policies and are required in an integrative perspective, as well as basic infrastructures need to be taken into account. The future of work is now, is here, and teamwork, problem solving are some of the findings of the MasterCard report on secondary education that were highlighted in the group session D. The necessity of a coordination of the public-private partnerships was highlighted in the group D, with a very valuable contribution of the Executive Secretary of ADEA that highlighted the example of a country, I think is Rwanda, of permanent meetings between private sector and the public, the ministries of education. In private-public part, it's an experience to be spread all over the continent, because in every countries we see public partnership experiences, public partnership initiatives, or private sector initiatives, but still we don't have a coordination in many countries. So this example was very, very fundamental for these kind of PPPs. So say that, I just would like to one more time thank my panelists. You were great in terms of time. I don't know, Shem, if we passed our time, but good. It was a very good exercise. Thank you very much. Shem, you may come and take the floor. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Aldo, and the entire reporting team. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to go straight into the final set of group sessions this afternoon. And for Group A, you're going to discuss, now this is now the financing bit. So for Group A, you're going to discuss how to strike. And that session will be moderated by Emmanuel Mutisia, African Development Bank. The stakeholders, we have Martin Gustafsson from the Department of Basic Education, and Rina Doroba, Manager, Education, African Development Bank, Georges Board, Statistical Advisor for Eastern Africa, UIS, and Emil Tanawa, Director from OEF. So that is Group A. Group B is going to discuss the moderator, and we shall have someone giving the overview of key issues. I'll give you a name in a minute. But the stakeholders will have the DRC case study by the Honorable Minister, Jovu. Then we have Olufemi Taiwo, Executive Director, LEAP Africa, and Wycliffe Otieno, Chief Education and Adolescent Development, UNICEF South Africa. That is Group B. Group C, the focus will be on system-level efficiencies that can help open the fiscal space to finance secondary education. That group will be moderated by Ruth Dweck Mbeba, Senior Program Manager, Education Finance of the MasterCard Foundation. And the overview will be provided by Keith Lewin, Professor, International Development, University of Sussex. The presentations of the case studies will have Burkina Faso, Professor Khalifa Traore. Then we will have Emmanuel. No, we won't have Emmanuel. We will have Honorable Kuyok, Under Secretary General Education, South Sudan. I'm told that he's not around. The last session is the perspective of youth engagement on secondary education reform, to be moderated by Josh Adler, Vice President for Growth and Entrepreneurship, African Leadership Academy, and Executive Director, the Anzisha Prize of South Africa. We will have the overview of key messages to be given by Sempi Kenwe, the Youth Ambassador from Lesotho, and we will have the stakeholders, Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempe, Minister for Education Ghana. We shall have Kimberly Davis, Ronina, CEO, Stop Becoming B of Madagascar, and finally, Thambiso Maboate, Supreme Cadets Institute, Ashoka, Young Changemaker finalist. So I would like to request, ladies and gentlemen, that we proceed straight away to the group sessions, and we aim to stop at 4:15. We try our best to make it at either 4:15 or 4:30. And after that, we shall come back for the final report back session, and then you'll have a break so that we can start preparing for the closing session, which will entail giving you a synthesis of what really has happened in the last 2 days, and to be followed by a declaration, and then we go into now the closing ceremony proper. So that is basically the agenda for the rest of the day. So thank you very much. I would really like to request that you don't even stop by the tea place. Just go straight to the group sessions so that we can catch up on time. Thank you so much.